Now it's time for another Pimpy's reaction video. Yay! Oh yeah, the truth has set you free. USADA's history of regime change, destabilization, and censorship justifies its closure by Trump. People are barely starting to understand what exactly USAID did. These are people that had taxpayer monies and used it to destabilize governments all around the world, including our own. They are behind so many things that's been happening recently. They control most all the newspapers, we're finding out. That's why the media has been attacking Trump like they have. They were behind Trump's first 2 impeachments and then also all of his court cases. They were behind all this. That's just a small portion of it. You'll learn more as we go along.
The world faces critical challenges, extreme weather events, misinformation and disinformation, increasing divisions within societies, within countries. The future is shaped by us, and particularly shaped by us here in this room. The future is shaped by us, and particularly shaped by us here in this room.
That's Klaus Schwab, the founder and leader of the World Economic Forum. You might know them as the New World Order. USADA has been funding billions of dollars of a lot of their projects, including the WEF by itself. They are behind all these movements, this climate control stuff, pushing that whole more than one gender agenda, and many, many other programs. But you heard what Klaus Schwab said. They are the ones that decide the future. Those people in the room, they're not hiding it anymore. They don't need to. But now that Trump has taken away their source of income, let's see if that changes. This is why the Democrats want to grow more government. They get paid big money to get behind this type of stuff. 80,000 additional IRS agents to audit us. They've stolen over $1 trillion of our money. Elon Musk has found several hundreds of billions of dollars that have been stolen from the American people. Stolen, you guys. We never gave any approval for what they're funding. None of us whatsoever. So like I said, the truth will set you free. First off, this is disgusting. Look at the corrupt, deep state Democrats, leftists are going to continue to go to the courts in New York because they have corrupt judges. They're trying to stop Elon Musk, who keeps exposing time and time again all the corruption within our government. Now look, people on both sides of the political forum, Democrats and Republicans, want to know this information, especially after the few things we've learned already. But here's what's happened. A New York judge, Paul Engelmeyer, just forbid all political appointees, including Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, from accessing Department of Treasury data, all based on Blue Anon conspiracy theories. Those theories couldn't be challenged because the order was ex parte, meaning Trump's lawyers weren't warned and couldn't weigh in. Only Democratic Attorney General were allowed to argue. The judge cites no law or logic to support this unprecedented order because it defies both. The judge's ruling is, in essence, that Scott Bessent simply occupies the ceremonial position without real power, like the King of England. This is a grenade thrown into the functioning of the Treasury Department. It forbids the elected government from accessing information about budget and finances. Instead, only the permanent deep state government can know what's being spent. Yeah, as they continue to expose the people that are behind all this funds being stolen from the American people, they want to do everything they can to protect that information. It seems Scott Bessent's subordinates have far more power than Scott Bessent does. Well, Scott was appointed to be head of the Treasury. And what good is it to be the head of a Treasury if the people that work for you have more power than you do? This is just a clever ploy to try to gain more time to hide everything as much as possible is what they're doing. Democrat pundits who whine about the Constitution are liars and will shred at the first chance they get. For now, the order is only for the next week, but if a court tries to make it permanent, the Trump administration should absolutely consider defying it. While nobody should be surprised at the Democrats making this move, they are tied to all this corruption. They're out there lying their ass off. They're so desperate, they're calling for violence in the street. Anything to keep people from learning about the truth. Anything to distract you from the truth.
There's a lot of misinformation out there. First of all, when you say the Doge team, These are Treasury employees. It is 2 Treasury employees, one of whom I personally interviewed in his final round. There is no tinkering with the system. They are on read-only. They are looking. They can make no changes. It is an operational program to suggest improvement. So we make 1.3 billion payments a year, and this is 2 employees who are working with a group of long-standing employees.
But you wouldn't believe that if you believed the mainstream media. By the way, in case you haven't noticed, a lot of these high-paid fake news anchors are all leaving or being fired from the networks. Once Trump got in office, the media decided to try to go as straight as possible. So we'll see how that goes because they're losing their funding. Just Scott Pacent, he is the gentleman that I was just talking about, that the judge told him he doesn't have any power. He's allowing Doge to get into the department to clean it up. Like he said, there's only 2 people, and they're working with the Treasury Department. It's not like they're doing it all on their own. Here comes a genius for you. Let's listen to his wisdom, shall we?
Elon Musk, who nobody voted for.
Nobody voted for anybody in the executive branch except for the president and the vice president. There are about 2.2 million civilian workers in the executive branch, and 2 were voted for.
And the Department of Government Efficiency, that is not actually part of the government.
The Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, is part of the government. While Donald Trump cannot unilaterally create a new federal agency with an executive order, he can rebrand an existing federal agency that is already funded, and that's what happened here. DOGE is a rebranding of the United States Digital Service, which was an agency created in 2014 during the Obama administration, and Trump adjusted its mission a little bit, but the dollars were already there. The president does have executive power to rebrand or rename agencies, move agencies in between different departments, adjust the mission of agencies, and also create temporary task forces to run agencies or be a part of agencies, which is why Trump has the authority to appoint Musk in a temporary task force within DOGE.
Has full access to the Federal Reserve payment systems, the Federal Treasury.
This shows that you don't really know what you're talking about, because the Federal Reserve System is not the same thing whatsoever as the Treasury Department's payment system, and DOGE has only been given very partial light access to the Treasury Department's payment system. The Federal Reserve System handles things like interbank transfers and EFTs and check clearing and make sure those go through well. The Treasury Department handles incoming and outgoing payments, payments to contractors, Medicare, Social Security, payments to federal employees. So no, they're not the same thing at all, and DOGE has not been given access to both of them. In fact, the access that DOGE has been given to the Treasury Department's payment system is basically 2 employees who have read-only access and are able to pass data about payments to DOGE.
System that controls payments through Medicare, Social Security, government contracts. Seem to remember Elon being the beneficiary of a lot of government contracts, but always wanting more anyway.
Yes, the federal government gave out almost $1 trillion in federal contracts last year, and a very tiny small percentage of that went to some of Elon Musk's companies, primarily SpaceX, because SpaceX is doing things technologically right now that no other company in the world is capable of pulling off. So Space Force is bringing SpaceX along to, for example, track ballistic missiles that might be coming at the United States. So no, SpaceX is not stealing money from other contractors who might be able to do the same thing. There's no one that can do what SpaceX is doing right now.
Wouldn't it be nice if he could just access those systems and withhold payments to his competitors? Divert those funds to himself?
Yeah, it's fun to push conspiracy theories to your followers when they have no basis whatsoever in reality. Wouldn't it be fun if Elon could just go and push some buttons and divert some federal funds to his own companies because he has access to do that now? He doesn't have access to do that now. In fact, Elon himself can't even look at the Treasury system. He himself does not have access. There are 2 employees based in the Treasury Department who have read-only access, and they can pass some of that data data to Doge for government efficiency purposes. Elon has no ability whatsoever to divert funds or move funds or stop funds to Social Security. This is absolutely made up for clicks and attention.
Guys, what we have going on right now is a coup.
What we have going on right now is a 60-second video of fear-mongering from you that is mostly made up and rife with misinformation. Now, you can legitimately criticize Doge, and you can legitimately criticize some of the access that Elon Musk has been given. But what you can't do is make things up and lie to make your side look better than it is. Now, I myself have significant problems with some of Elon's actions and some of the access that he's been given. But what I'm not going to do is sit here and lie to my followers and say that he can divert federal funds to his own companies when that's obviously not true. Or try to say that Doge is an illegal shadow agency that's not really part of the government when that's also not true.
Donald Trump is not the president. Elon Musk is operating a shadow government. He has subverted the entire governmental apparatus of the United States. It is not hyperbole to say he has taken over this country.
This is hyperbole with no basis in reality, but sadly many of your followers and viewers will believe this because they will not do any research of their own.
Are you guys watching this?
Yep, we sure are. What's the problem?
We have a private takeover of the federal government
Nope, that's not what this is.
that is being labeled reform.
Did you mean to say it's called Make America Great Again?
It is clearly in violation of a number of federal laws,
No, it is clearly not.
at the very least of which is records retention that a lot
Nope, no personal records, just government records.
of websites that are being unilaterally taken down.
Good.
We have people who haven't gone through security clearances who are using Gmail addresses to join top-level OPM meetings.
Oh, like Hillary Clinton and so many others that were using private servers and different email addresses and phone numbers for classified information?
This is an effing circus.
No, this is effing fantastic.
And I guess, sorry, that's all the time that the guest has.
Thank goodness your rant was annoying.
That's all the time we have this morning for Trump Morning News.
Well, you might want to clear your morning tomorrow because there's a lot more coming your way.
As always, we remind you, your state legislators, you can't do anything directly about this.
What a horrible leader and a terrible message to send to your constituents.
There's nothing the Republican Party could have done in the last 20 years. Oh, and by the way, Musk did a salute on stage. Mr. President, I yield the well.
And that's a wrap, folks. That's the classic liberal meltdown.
So recently, Samantha Powers was fired as the head of USAID. And some people started digging into her background, and you can understand why she's upset. She almost tripled her net worth over the past year and a half as the leader of USAID. And who paid for that? United States taxpayers.
Guys, let me introduce you to Samantha Power. Samantha Power here is a top administrator that is now fired from her position. Okay, Samantha Powell is a far leaning left individual. Okay, we did a little digging. Samantha Power was sworn in as an administrator at USAID on May 8th, 2021. Samantha Power's financial disclosure filed in January 21 shows her assets estimated at $6.7 million to $16.5 million today. In 2024, her net worth is estimated up to $30 million. How does a government job multiply wealth like that? Her salary at USAID was only $180,000 annually, and she's on national TV complaining about the good work she has done. What work is that? Laundering our money?
Here's a representative on the podcast explaining more about what's been going on.
Okay, so we knew the U.S. government runs a $2 trillion deficit every year. We're in debt almost $40 trillion. And we also knew that anytime anyone tries to cut anything in Washington, the whole city screams bloody murder. Okay, so the question is just why? Well, now we know. The money is all going to them. It's like round tripping to them. New York Times getting paid. Politico, getting paid. Bill Kristol, perennial warmonger, getting paid. Ukraine, getting paid. Like 11 out of 12 publications, Ukraine, getting paid.
Incredible.
Viktor Orban, who's the prime minister of Hungary, was saying that he's very popular in Hungary. His political opposition, funded by USAID. In Poland, the left-wing political opposition funded by USAID, and on and on and on it goes.
BBC, you wonder why everyone in the UK is so, yeah.
Like
I couldn't believe the BBC is getting paid.
Every left-wing organization in the world seems to be getting paid by this slush fund at USAID, which disperses about $50 billion a year. That's $1 billion a week. That's actually a lot of money. And so it makes you wonder, the left in general tries to portray itself as a movement of the people, that it's grassroots. This is the exact opposite. This is AstroTurf. This is basically money coming from the top down out of Washington to fund all of these groups, maybe not even in the United States, like all over the world. So it makes you wonder, what is the real level of local support for these left-wing policies all over the world?
He's talking about the number of publications and news networks out there that were all getting paid by USAID. Now you understand why they all had this huge wave of Trump-hating information coming out? Because they were controlled. Here's our buddy Pete. He's in charge of the entire Pentagon. He's preparing everybody for what's coming.
That includes a Pentagon audit, which, to the Marines out there, y'all got to figure it out. And we appreciate that. Lean and mean. We are going to focus heavily to ensure that, at a bare minimum, by the end of 4 years, the Pentagon passes a clean audit. The American taxpayers deserve that. They deserve to know where their $850 billion go, how it's spent, and make sure it's spent wisely. It used to be that if you called for an audit, somehow you were undermining the department. I believe the exact opposite. I believe we are accountable for every dollar we spend, and every dollar of waste we find or redundancy is a dollar we can invest somewhere else, as President Trump has committed directly to rebuilding our nation's military. So rebuilding our military is key.
The Pentagon has not passed an audit in 7 years. Oh yeah, this is what it's like. They don't want the Democratic corruption exposed. And this is the Democrats' response.
No. No.
Oh yeah, you gotta love what this guy has to say.
Dude, this USAID thing is so much worse than people realize. Do y'all remember when people were angry at Elon Musk for buying Twitter for $40 billion? Because he could have solved world hunger with that money. Okay? Keep that same energy. Okay? We were supposed to have sent like somewhere around $200 billion to Ukraine. Remember? Remember all those little packages? Well, even Zelensky says that only about half of it even got there. So there's $100 billion that's just floating around somewhere. That could have solved world hunger. But your government was so inefficient and so corrupt, and you don't even care about it? In fact, you're more mad that we stopped USAID for a minute and paused it so we can figure out what the flip all of our money's going to, bro? This is not a normal response. Your reaction is being manipulated by the media. It has to be, because you would be mad under any other circumstances. Imagine your dad left you a business that used to make you $100 a month, and now that business is losing you like $10,000 a month. You would go in and go, what's going on? And it's like, pretend it's a mattress company. And you look at the expenditures and you're like, well, these aren't springs and cotton and mattress sheets and things like that. No, we're buying cement in Dubai for 10 times the price that anybody else ever paid. What's going on? And then one of the managers comes up to you and goes, hey, you're not supposed to have access to this warehouse. What are you even doing in here? You would be like, I'm getting scammed so hard, pause everything. Everybody's going to jail, bro. Meanwhile, Maui, North Carolina, and California are all burning down, and we never seem to have enough money for that. Hell, Flint, Michigan's water costs like $1.5 billion, and it would be fixed, bro. We give Ethiopia more than that every year. Then you start looking at all the politicians that have been connected to this thing, and you wonder, why are these guys yelling so much? And you look into how they're receiving their revenue. Oh, it goes out in USAID, it does a little cool loop-de-loop dance, and then comes back to their families. Oh, well, Ross, if it was this bad, the news would have told us about it. Nope, because the other thing USAID is funding is all of the freaking media, bro. They are deciding what you guys think, which is why all of them have made you all think that we're the bad guys this whole time. They knew that if we won, we would see this and cut off their funding. There's a movie called The Truman Show with Jim Carrey where basically everything around him is like a controlled environment and things like that. If you found out that all of the same opinions that you've had from the media for the last 10 years were funded and created for you to have those opinions, wouldn't you pump the brakes a little bit and start thinking maybe the right-wingers aren't so bad? We voted for this so we can see all the leeches that are sucking the money out of all of our company, bro. Join the team.
Yeah, that's a pretty simple way to think about it. But there's a more detailed way to think about it here shortly. But let's hear what this woman has to say. Because there's a trend called Leaving MAGA, where people who are supposed to be Trump supporters and MAGA supporters are supposedly leaving Trump because of everything that's going on. That's what we're being told. And it's trending because, you know, these corrupt people do have control of a lot of these social media platforms, with the exception of X. But let's hear this.
So I want to let the Democrats know who think that Donald Trump supporters are regretting their vote. You all are wrong. You wish that Donald Trump supporters were regretting their vote, but Donald Trump supporters are not regretting their vote. The only reason Leaving MAGA is trending is because Democrats are causing it to trend. I have not spoken to anybody who voted for Donald Trump and who has told me that they regret voting for him. Why would you regret voting for somebody who campaigns on something and then takes office and carries out the plans that he was campaigning on? We knew that he was going to shut down the border. We knew he was going to ban biological men from competing in women's sports. We knew that he campaigned on carrying out the largest mass deportation in American history. So now that he has taken office and began to carry those things out, why would somebody regret their vote? The only people who should be regretting their vote are those of you who voted for Joe Biden, because those of you who voted for Joe Biden 4 years ago voted in the worst administration in our country's history. I hope we never see another president as bad as Joe Biden has been in our entire lifetime. He was the absolute worst president our nation has ever seen. The people who voted him in, you're the ones who should be regretting your vote. As far as Trump supporters are concerned, nobody is regretting voting for Donald Trump. We knew what we were getting before we got it. And the reason people voted Donald Trump into office, the 75 million Americans who voted him into office, the reason he was voted into office is because we wanted him to carry out the largest mass deportation in American history. We wanted him to get biological men out of women's sports. We wanted him to do all these things. And now that he's doing them, I couldn't be happier.
See, the whole trend about people leaving Trump and the Republicans regretting their vote is bullshit. That's just their way of trying to counter the thousands of videos coming out like this.
All right, y'all. Listen, let me be one of the first black women that was a part of the 92 or the 93% that voted for Kamala to come out and just say it. I regret voting for Kamala. I really do. I regret voting for her. Already into Trump's presidency, not even a full month, and this man has already secured borders. He's already signing bills that are taking place that are uplifting this country. Me not doing my history and really, being investigative and seeing all the things that Trump has done, and now having an eye-opener and really looking at this man and seeing exactly how this man works has really put something on my heart. And I don't know what I was thinking going in there voting for Kamala in the first place. I'm glad of the results. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad that Trump is in there. But me being so lost and participating into the whole Kamala run, and now taking a step back, looking at how this president here is really running things, and it hasn't even been a whole month, is something that I do think about. So, you know, I advise people that are in the Democratic Party, myself, to do your research. Really do your research, okay? Because I can definitely say that as a black woman, a part of the 93%, I made an error. I can admit that. I can take accountability and admit that.
All right, here we go. Listen to this gentleman, because what he's about to say will blow your mind.
Not tax dollars, our lives. Not wasted, stolen. I'm thrilled, just like every hardworking, honest American, to see the corruption that is in our government finally be exposed line by line by line. But I just want to make a point. Instead of referring to this as our tax dollars being wasted, let's call it what it is. It's theft. Those dollars represent hours, years of our lives. And the people they gave this money to is of the utmost importance. This isn't just, oops, we wasted it on bubble wrap. That bubble wrap stress relief money went to specific people who tested that bubble wrap. This is fraud. This is theft. This is corruption. This is treason against the American people. Our lives have been stolen from us, and the people who committed it need to be held accountable. We are economic slaves, and these people have stolen years of our lives. Years of it. How many years of American lives have been stolen by the aristocrats in our country?
So there you have it. Before you get all cockeyed and crazy listening to the lying Democrats in the mainstream media talk crap about Trump, misleading you into believing that Elon Musk took over the government and that they're stealing money from the government, don't listen to that bullshit. Go do your own research. Because when you do your own research, then you'll find out that the truth will set you free.